Hello, friends, teachers, colleagues, whoever is listening to my video. My name is Kundan Patel. Today I'm going to talk about one of the chapter from your first flight, Dust of Snow. The topic which I'm going to teach is Dust of Snow. It is composed by Robert Frost, one of the American poet who was born on 26th March 1874 and he passed away on January 29, 1963. So friends, teachers, the poem which we are going to today talk about, it has every poem, like everyone has a particular theme. So the poem has got two themes in it, like significance of small events. It deals with significance of small events, and there is a connection which the poet has tried to establish between humans and nature. So the second theme which goes is between nature and humans. So the poem is a very small one. It is divided into two stanzas and containing with only 8 lines. Such a small poem, but with a deep significance. I would like to tell you about a little bit of Robert Frost's writings, which we have read in class 9 also. There was a poem in class 9 textbook. It was Road Not Taken. The poems which we read written by Robert Frost have very simple words. The poet uses very simple words, but the meaning inside is having a very deep significance. It carries a very deep significance inside the poem. If you see this poem, you do not find very difficult words in them. Even if you read Robert Frost, the poem that I was talking about, Road Not Taken, and another poem which we have in the same textbook, it is Fire and Ice. Even if we read Fire and Ice, we will not find much of the difficult words, right? So the theme which we know, significance of small event it carries, and nature and humans it is speaking about. How the poet is bringing these two elements, these two themes into this poem. The poem tells us of his experience that once he was passing through the forest or passing by a tree. It was a snowy morning or snowy day. The entire atmosphere was covered with snow. But the thing was, he was in a very pensive mood. That means very sad mood. And an incident takes place when he stands under a tree called hemlock tree, and a dust of snow which falls on his shoulder, and that falling of this small event changes his entire moods, and he gets relieved from that pensive or sad mood, and his day passes very happily. I would not say happily, but it was, at least he didn't suffer the same sadness which he was suffering throughout the day or from the morning, but his day somehow he got saved from that sad or pensive mood he was engrossed with, right? So let's leave, and in that small event made a very deep significant change in his life. He might have been suffering more days of sadness, but he didn't suffer. That small incident of falling dust from hemlock tree on his shoulder, that brought about a greater change in his life. So what the poet is trying to tell us, he's trying to tell us that even the smallest insignificant happening can bring about a very significant and important effect in our life. So let's go through the text of the poem. We see the very small poem. It starts like, the way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. So what happens? See, the way a crow shook down on me, the moment it took place, that means the time he was passing by or under the tree of hemlock. It was a very poisonous tree. We know hemlock trees they carry a significance of very dangerous poison, which was once used for one of the philosophers to kill or to blind. It was a very poisonous tree, and that poison kills human. But so what does it signify? A very simple thing, A hemlock tree, it is poisonous, it carries, we can say the poet is using, why the poet is using hemlock tree and why he is using crow. Both are negative elements, right? Both are, they carry bad omen. We can say it is, see, it symbolizes bad omen. That means, I would say, inauspicious happening. So these two elements which are negative, but they are bringing about a positive change in the life of the poet, or for the time of the, for the while he was suffering from his a very negative mood of his life. So what happens, he comes to, he goes through a transition, a change of mood with very negative things. A positive, or I should say affirmative happening takes place in his life with the help of these two negative things in his life. So that way a crow shook down on me. The way means the process, the way, the thing which happened, the moment the crow shook down some dust of snow on his shoulder, and the mood which was engrossed with very negative thoughts, or very sad or very pensive mood, it suddenly broke. He, like a spell which covers the mind of the persons, the audience, the people, getting enchanted. So that enchantment, or that kind of spell which was on his mind of sadness or grief or whatever it was, it broke with a small drop or a few flakes of snow which fell on his shoulder, and it was done by ominous bird. An ominous bird, I should say. It is, crow is considered as ominous bird in many of the mythical stories, or in the society, the people in the society believe that the bird is, crow is, it carries bad omen. It is not, does not have any positive significance in the society. That negative thing, and from another negative tree like hemlock, the dust fell on his shoulder, and the poet's mood got changed, and he now was no more in that mood. So what happened, that now this was the reason, the reason, the cause was explained here, and what effect brought it, we get to know in the second stanza. Has given my heart. So the dust of snow has given the heart of the poet, changed the poet's heart, that means mind, a change of mood. His mood got changed, and saved some part of a day I had rued. So some part of the day, not the entire day, was saved. Not the entire day he could enjoy, but rather the some part of it already, he had lost a lot of time of the day, but the rest of the day was saved. Rude, it means regretted. He, the time he was regretting, or he was sad, so that part was saved. He did not suffer anymore from sadness. So his heart was completely changed. So alright, this was the simple meaning of this poem, and it teaches us that we should not take things, even the smallest event, even the smallest thing, insignificantly. We shouldn't be like, we are not paying attention to very small trivial things. Rather, the poet is trying to explain us that even the smallest, even the tiniest events in our life carries a very deeper significance. It depends only how we look at the things. It depends on our perspective, how we look at the things, how we experience them, how we take them as that. So now we'll come up to the part of the poetic devices that it carries, like small things, like we can say the rhyme scheme first. What is the rhyme scheme? We can easily identify this from this poem. How we can identify the rhyme scheme? We can see the ending words, crow. If we name it A, shook down on me. If we name it B, Now this crow is matching with snow, so it can be said as A, and from a hemlock tree it's B. So similarly we can see the second stanza is also going in the same pattern, like heart is mating with part, mood is matching with root. Alright. So the rhyme scheme of the poem we can say is A B A B. Alright. And so apart from rhyme scheme, we can talk about the poetic devices which the poet has very masterful, very nicely used in this poem. Like, we should begin with the title, Dust of Snow. What is dust actually? Dust is a very trivial part of the thing in the which we find on the floors. Dust, snow is compared to the dust indirectly. So dust of snow, it is a metaphor which is also used here, metaphor. What does this poetic devices say? That it shows implicit comparison between two things. Like snow is being compared to the dust. The snow was like dust. If we say in this way, it is simile. So here dust of snow, it is metaphor. So metaphorically the poet is comparing the tiniest part, even the smallest thing can make greater change. That is how. And another thing, crow and this hemlock tree, they are symbols. The symbolism. The poet has used here symbolism. Alright. Symbol that symbolizes bad omen, ominous things in the world, inauspicious thing. So these two things are there. The poet has used these two devices. Another device the poet has used here, he is using O, sound of O. So this is called assonance. Assonance. Alright, this is another poetic device the poet has used. And another poetic device he has used in the second stanza, has given my heart. When same consonant sounds are repeated in the beginning of every word in a same sentence, it is called alliteration. Alright, so here the poet has used alliteration and save some part. Another alliteration has been used here as well. Save some part. SS. Again it is used here. Alright. And the poet has in the first stanza, from not only first stanza, I would say the entire poem is a greater example of enjoyment. Alright, it is a greater example of, it is one of the greatest example of enjoyment, because you can see from the beginning up to the end there is no punctuation mark. When a poet uses such lines that they don't carry any punctuation mark like comma, full stop, so and one idea starts from one line and it comes to the end, comes to an end to the next line or the entire stanza, then it is called enjoyment. See, we can see no comma is there, no full stop is there till the last line of the entire poem. So it is one of the prolonged example of enjoyment. Alright. And one more poetic device is still remaining, that is heart. By the poet sometimes use one word to signify completely another thing, or from one smaller part to entire bigger aspect when they signify such things. This type of poetic devices are called synecdoche. Alright. Has given, I wouldn't say this one entirely. Up to this, like heart has started a change of mood. This is the usage of synecdoche here. So this is how the poet has given us multiple usages of poetic devices in the entire poem, and overall we can, if we talk about the first stanza, the entire incident, it comes like an image in front of our eyes. So the poet has also used here imagery. Alright, sorry. Imagery he has also used. And the way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. If we look at this writing, the way the sentence is written here is not a normal sentence. If we look at it, we can see the sentence the poet has used in his own way. He has replaced the formation of the entire sentence. He has changed the position of the words where they are not suitable. So this type of poetic device is known as inversion. It is a kind of poetic license. The poet has used poetic license to change this formation of sentence here, and that's how he has used another poetic device called inversion. So this was all about the poem that we have today discussed. I have today explained you, and I hope this finds you in better understanding of the poem. Though this is a limited short time video, we can prolong our explanations from this point here, and I hope this will make you understand better in short discussion of my poem. Alright, thank you so much for listening and watching.